Hello and welcome to International Dance Week, live stream online presentations coming to you from location at Free Flow Dance Theater in Treaty 6 Territory, Saskatoon. My name is Terrell McGuire, and I have the privilege of hosting this series of a week. We're coming to the grand finale of an amazing week, a week of these live stream intercultural collaborations that were curated by Jackie Latendras, Artistic Director of Free Flow Dance. So this evening, we're so looking forward to the final presentation that is a collaboration between Newton Moraes and Philip McDermott. Philip will be live in the studio here, and Newton will be remote. They will be performing a piece that we'll be able to talk about afterward a little bit to get some insight into what we all see. In the meantime, we'd like to pay our respects to the many First Nations people who have made Treaty 6 territory their home from time immemorial right through the present into the future. And they include the Cree, the Dene, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and Métis Nation. We honor and respect their presence. We would also like to thank some people, other ones who have made this whole process possible. First of all, thanks to Free Flow Dance Theater. And if you are interested in making a donation to these free live stream performances, you can find the link on their website, the page where you got the link into these performances. We'd like to thank 5x5 Live, our fabulous tech guys, Kenton and Tyler. And we'd like to thank Saskatchewan Arts Board, Sask Culture, and our wonderful intern, Kieran Brown. So on that note, let the show begin. Enjoy. Hi, we're back. And we've got Newton on screen in Toronto. Hi, Newton. And we've got Philip here, post-performance in the flesh.
Thanks, Terrell.
Thanks, you guys. That was really fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm going to address the first question maybe to you, Newton, so that Philip can recover slightly. I know he's a quick recoverer, but nonetheless, we'll give him a little more time.
Thanks.
So, Newton, I'm curious if there was a lot of you also represented in what Philip danced, or any of you.
Well, I think we had the conversation over Zoom, and we have meetings over Zoom. So we talk about our lives, and I thought that it would be nice to have some task that would represent both our lives, but primarily I think it was more as Philip, because I think he's an incredible performer, and I was having goosebumps seeing him performing tonight.
Thank you, Newton.
Yeah. So I guess that means that you really helped shape the material that Philip
Because
generated.
we're not in the same room, so I gave him some questions. We talked, and he expressed a little bit about his life, and then he shared with me. He was very generous, and we went from there.
Right. Okay. Philip?
I would love to add, thank you, Newton, for saying that. I'd love to add that in our discovery and playing, we found out that we had a lot of similarities in our childhood. And so we could relate to what had happened. And even though it was different circumstances or end results, we had this through knowledge of how we felt, and we bonded over that. So, yeah.
Yeah, those shared experiences can really create very strong connections and a kind of mutual understanding and a basis for working that can be really useful.
Correct, yeah.
So there were a lot of emotional tones and colors in the piece, Philip, that were consolidated into a relatively short piece. Very powerful, very strong. And I'm wondering, too, if the sign language aspect, I know it started out as sign language, and then did it kind of morph into sign language becoming gesture, choreographic gesture?
Yeah, so Newton and I both speak sign language. Of course, different styles of it because of Newton being from Brazil and myself being from Newfoundland. So it's a bit of an accent, so there's little subtle changes. And so I started to improv with the idea of speaking to Newton in my sign language, and then it morphed into movement vocabulary that just said it all, you know?
Yeah.
And I didn't have to sign it in the end.
Yeah. And when you were actually speaking to the camera with sign language, is it significant what you were saying? Should we know anything? I mean, a lot of it was body language, and it was pretty obvious, but are there any elements that you think the audience might benefit from knowing?
I don't mind sharing what I was saying. I was basically introducing myself, and I was saying where I came from, where did you come from, simple questions like that. And then it morphs into where did you work? Like, how did you get to this place that you are in now? And those are the questions also I'm asking myself. And there is a very personal aspect to it of there is a little bit of trauma in my life. And so both me and Newton have experienced that in our childhood. And that's where we kind of dove into the work even more, and different layers kept on being added to the sign. So, would you agree, Newton?
I agree completely, entirely. And to add it as well, like over the years, I think the last 10 or 15 years lately of my company, I have been using sign language in different aspects. First was Spanish, and then I learned some Libras, so it's the Brazilian sign language. Now I know a little bit more of the North American way, because sometimes the gestures, they are different and they mean different things. And primarily I try to use as a layer with my choreography, but now it's become part of the vocabulary, and work with an artist like Philip that knows sign language. And we have, so as he says, we have so many similarities growing up. I mean, even him being a straight man and myself being a gay man, but we have a lot of similarities in sports and things that we suffer over the years. And I said, let's dig into that and let's go into that. Let's see what we can come up with.
Definitely.
Yeah, because it's as if the sign language was just another resource to build and expand and amplify movement vocabulary, like more abstract movement vocabulary than the actual
Correct.
spoken word. So that was very interesting to see. And Philip, yeah, there was that emotional intensity that came through your body as well as through your face that really did read, even without being literal. And I do wonder, though, there was one literal thing, your prop. You have a suitcase with clothes, and usually there are certain connotations that go with suitcases and clothes, and especially clothes being thrown out of the suitcase.
Totally. Yeah.
Would you care to
Yeah, I can.
enlighten us a little bit?
Yeah. So Newton actually imposed that idea of having the suitcase. And I thought about it at first, and I was like, is it too literal? And in a way, it wasn't, because that suitcase represented so much of me and Newton. We both travel a lot. We are both away from our family. We carry our family on our shoulders literally all the time.
Yeah.
And so that was part of that with the suitcase. And then the decluttering or getting rid of items was certain memories for me. I don't know what it would be for Newton, possibly. It could be something different. But certain memories that I don't need to hold on to anymore.
Yeah, I think that's very understandable, because we all have those memories that we do not need to be burdened by going into our future lives, don't we?
Yeah, things that happen to us and they serve us for the moment and we learn, but we don't need to carry them on, so we can travel light. And we can go to the next phase of our life, live life.
Create other memories.
Exactly, create new memories, yeah.
It's very exciting for that to happen.
Yeah, it is. And I appreciated there was, I don't know if you meant to be amusing, but I was amused when you had the suitcase open, second position on your back. That was really, it was like, okay, oh, he's let us off the hook after being like, oh, Philip.
Yeah. As we may know, Newton is a very, comedic guy, as well as being quite serious and sensitive. And I also relate to that. I'm a bit of a goofball outside the studio. And I think that kind of sneaked in, didn't it, Newton?
It did. Well, it's part of us. We cannot separate from who we are.
Yeah, it's true.
Humor, everything. To express ourselves. And I think, imagine, we just have few rehearsals.
Yeah, we actually created this in 2 weeks, I think it was, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So it was a very quick process, and I think both me and Newton want to continue the work and dive into it a little bit more, So
Jackie, watch out. We're going to be doing something in Saskatoon.
To be continued. Next chapter pending. Well, thank you both so much, and thanks to, of course, everybody else who made International Dance Week live stream online possible. The people that we've already thanked, thank you again.
Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Newton. Thank you, Jackie and Free Flow. And thank you, those of you that stayed in tune with the whole program this week.
Yeah,
we really appreciate
it was pretty amazing. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. And good night, moon. It's a new moon. Good night, Newton. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Tara. Good night, Philip. Good night, Jackie, and all the viewers.